Shalom, brothers. This is just a little follow-up on the Passover. We did mention to you, brothers, about the unleavened bread. You're not supposed to have it. Some of you may know, some of you may not know. So we're just going to go into it real quick just to show you that you're not supposed to have any leaven in your house, just to give you an idea of what leaven is and what to eat, or actually what not to eat, what not to have in your house. All right, this is the book of Exodus chapter 12. I'm gonna go straight to the point. Verse 8. And they shall eat the flesh in that night, roast with fire and unleavened bread, and with bitter herbs they shall eat it. Now the unleavened bread is also yeast. So now, before we continue on, this is the Blue Letter Bible, Exodus 12 and 8. This is the word unleavened bread, or unleavened. When you go to the Hebrew, the word is matazah, which the so-called Jews call matzah, right? As you can see here, it says unleavened bread cake without leaven. All right, and as you bring it down here, it says what is sweet, especially sweet. An example, unfermented bread, such as is used at the Passover, opposite to leavened bread. All right, and unleavened cake. All right, so when it says here, and they shall eat the flesh in that night, roast with fire and unleavened bread. Unleavened bread basically is bread that doesn't have any yeast in it. Sometimes they might call it flat bread, but you got to be careful with some of that flat bread because sometimes it has yeast in it. So the best way to do it is just to check the ingredients and make sure there's no yeast. It says, and with bitter herbs they shall eat it. Now the bitter herbs, you can get what's called horseradish root, what you can buy in like a Stop and Shop, especially in them honky neighborhoods. They'll sell it. You'll have a better chance of finding it there than you have to find it in around Jake's neighborhood. Go to one of them like Stop and Shops in the Edomite neighborhoods. One of them ritzy, kind of shopping centers that Esau goes to, and then go to the produce section, where they sell the herbs and all that, the lettuce and tomatoes and all that. And just look around for it. It looks like a big piece of brown. It looks like a big piece of root. It's called horseradish root. It's brown. You wash it. You peel it off. And sometimes you ask one of the people there, they'll tell you if they have it. They'll show you where it's at. You just peel it and cut it and eat it. And it's very bitter, and it represents a captivity. That captivity that we came out of in Egypt. But it also, is a reminder also of this captivity that we're in right here. All right. So, I'm just gonna go here to this site. This Edomite chick put together. It's called List of Leavened Foods. You can type in your address bar here, or your search engine here. You could put list of leavened foods, or list of foods with yeast in it. You can find your own site. Maybe they'll give you more information on it. But this, she's the devil. She put a little something together. She didn't say where this Passover came from, but that's not her job. She's the devil. Anyway, leavening agents are used in many baked goods to allow dough to rise before baking. Leavening agents work by creating bubbles or fermentation that physically make dough rise. So the leaven or the yeast makes the cake to rise. And we didn't have time to put the yeast in there. The women didn't have time to put the yeast in there because this thing was a thing that had to be done in haste. That's why when you eat the Passover, what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to eat it in haste. You would be girded. You have your clothes on. You would have a staff in your hand, and you would be eating it in haste because we ate it in haste that night. It's not a social event. It's not something that you sit down and and you cordially, you take your spoon and your fork or whatever, and you're sitting there chit-chatting with somebody, having a little sip of wine, cutting the lamb, and yeah, and how was the day today at the job? It's a solemn assembly, and it's something that you're supposed to be eating in haste. All right, it says during the Jewish Passover holiday, many followers abstain from consuming food items that have been leavened. Prepared foods will list leavening ingredients on the label, and that's the best way to find out if something has leaven in it or not. Just check the label. You got beer and grain alcohol. Beer and grain alcohols are made using grain and yeast, which are leavening agents. You don't want to drink this shit anyway. Grain alcohol, that'll kill you. Like ethanol, that's grain alcohol. So you don't have to worry about that. But beer, make sure you don't drink any beer. You know, the best thing to do is to stick to drinking wine for that week of the Passover, because you do have some liquors out there that do have that are made from certain barley or wheat and stuff like that may have yeast in it. So to be on the safe side, just stick to the wine. It says yeast. Yeast converts sugar into carbon dioxide and alcohol byproducts, creating bubbles which raise dough. Yeast is often included in many baked goods like bread, as well as alcohol. Buns, cakes, cookies, crackers, cereals, pancakes, donuts, and waffles may all contain yeast. So just avoid all this stuff here. And you know, if you're not sure about something, check the label. You know, if it says yeast, don't eat it. You know, if you want to have a hot dog, a kosher hot dog, just don't eat it with a bun. Just eat it by itself. If you want to have breakfast, just make sure you don't have any toast. You got baking powder. Baking powder is added to baked goods like cakes and cookies to provide lift in the dough. Just stay away from all these things: baking soda, baker's ammonia, sourdough starter, which I don't know anybody that really uses that, but you never know. Then you got grains. It says most food made from grains is prepared with leavening agents. Wheat, rye, oats, and barley are common grains. Foods such as matzah, which tastes like shit, them so-called Jews put that together, but if you want to eat it, get down. Foods such as matzah is specifically prepared without leavening to comply with religious customs. Alright, so pretty much if you want to get some, we have corn tortillas with ours, which they don't have any leavening in it, but to be on the safe side, like I said, always check the ingredients. Alright, so that's pretty much it. Just wanted to do a little short thing on it. We did touch on it on the Passover Sabbath service, but just wanted to touch on it again just to make sure some of the brothers out there that don't know about it, now they know. If you happen to have any yeast in the house, when the Passover comes around, make sure you get rid of it. If you plan on buying any groceries the week of the Passover, make sure you don't buy, or the week before, make sure you don't buy any cakes or cookies or bread or anything with yeast in it, because you're just gonna have to end up throwing it out. And if you have anything laying around, just get rid of it. And that's pretty much it. So with that, we'll close this out. Hopefully, see you brothers at the Passover. Hopefully this will be our last Passover, and hopefully the Lord will deliver us soon, because we're at the end of this thing now, and you see the prophecies coming to pass day by day. So the more prophecies come to pass, the closer and closer we are to being delivered out of this captivity, and being able to enjoy and celebrate the new Passover. Alright, so with that, I'm gonna say shalom.